Have you ever stopped to truly consider the invisible architects of your destiny? The silent, powerful forces that shape your reality long before any action is taken. They reside not in external circumstances, but within the very chambers of your mind. For it is in the landscape of your thoughts and the unwavering conviction of your mindset that the true measure of your greatness is forged. We often look outside ourselves for the keys to success, for the opportunities, the lucky breaks. But what if the greatest barrier, and indeed the greatest lever, lay entirely within our own perception? What if the path to achieving the extraordinary was less about what you get, and more about what you believe you are capable of, and what you are willing to give? This profound truth was brought home to me through the remarkable transformation of a man I once knew. A man whose life was a stark illustration of how a shift in mindset can rewrite an entire future. Let's call him Arthur. For many years, Arthur was a fixture on the busy street corner near the old market square. Huddled against the chill, his face etched with hardship, he was, by all appearances, just another beggar. His outstretched hand was a familiar sight, his silent plea a part of the city's background noise. People would occasionally drop a coin into his palm, often out of pity, sometimes out of habit, rarely out of genuine connection. Arthur himself saw no other path. He believed he was a beggar, and so, a beggar he remained. His identity was defined by his lack, his future limited by his past. One particularly bleak morning, as the city stirred to life around him, a thought, barely a whisper at first, began to form in Arthur's mind. He had spent years observing the ebb and flow of human interaction, the silent contracts that governed transactions. He noticed that even the simplest exchange involved a transfer of value. A baker offered bread, a customer offered money, a street performer offered entertainment, passers-by offered applause and coins. Arthur, however, offered nothing. He simply asked, and in that asking, without offering anything in return, he inadvertently perpetuated his own perceived worthlessness. It was then that the principle of exchange, a fundamental law of the universe, illuminated his understanding. To truly receive, you must first give. But what could he? A man with nothing, possibly Hibe. He looked around, his gaze falling upon a patch of vibrant wildflowers growing defiantly between the cracks in the pavement, their delicate petals a burst of color against the gray concrete. An idea, fragile but persistent, took root. The very next day, Arthur arrived at his usual spot, but this time his hands were not empty. They clutched a small, carefully gathered bouquet of wildflowers. As people walked by, instead of merely extending his hand, he would gently offer a flower. "A bloom for your day, sir," he'd murmur, "or a touch of beauty, madame." He wasn't demanding, he wasn't begging. He was offering. The change was immediate, and astonishing, people both said. Their expressions shifted from indifference to surprise, then to a genuine smile. They took the flowers, their faces softening, and then, almost instinctively, they reached into their pockets. The coins they dropped into his hand were no longer given out of pity, but out of a reciprocal gesture of appreciation. The act of giving had transformed the dynamic completely. Arthur wasn't just a beggar anymore. He was someone offering a small, unexpected moment of joy. As the days turned into weeks, Arthur noticed something even more profound happening within himself. He no longer felt the sting of shame or the weight of dependency. When someone gave him money, he didn't feel like a recipient of charity. He felt like he had earned it. People were paying for his flowers, for the small gift of beauty he provided, not for his destitution. He was no longer just asking. He was creating value. One afternoon, a kindly old woman, admiring the simple elegance of the daisy he had just handed her, looked at him with a twinkle in her eye and said, "You know, young man, you're quite the entrepreneur, aren't you?" The word resonated deep within Arthur. Entrepreneur, not a beggar, not a burden. An entrepreneur, someone who creates, who offers, who exchanges value. It was a revelation. It wasn't just about the money, or even the flowers. It was about the profound shift in his self-perception. He began to see himself as capable, as someone with something to offer, rather than someone defined by what he lacked. This single shift in his mindset, this powerful redefinition of his own identity, was the catalyst for an extraordinary transformation. The quality of his thoughts began to determine the quality of his life. He started to take pride in his business, carefully selecting the freshest flowers, arranging them with care. He began to greet people with a genuine smile, no longer a forced grimace of desperation. He saved diligently, not just for his next meal, but with a vision for the future. Arthur's story is a vivid testament to the fact that your greatness is not a fixed state, but a dynamic potential shaped by your internal narrative. When Arthur saw himself as a beggar, he was one. But when he dared to perceive himself as an entrepreneur, as someone capable of offering value and engaging in a fair exchange, his entire world began to align with that new belief. His future, once a bleak continuation of his past, began to blossom with possibility, much like the wildflowers he so carefully tended. It reminds us that the most powerful force for change resides not in external circumstances, but in the unwavering belief we cultivate within ourselves. Change your mindset, change your self-belief, and you will, without a doubt, transform your future.